On Global TV News Prime, Budget Office defends PFIPC allocation, says no funds were released. In business, United States slaps Nigeria, 7 African nations with 12.5% export tariff. And on the foreign scene, President Putin inspects MC-21 aircraft production at Irkutsk aviation plant. And in sports, LeBron James joins Philadelphia 76ers in final NBA move. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Prime on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Jumai Manson. Now, a quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV, channel 365, Star Times, channel 276, and Free TV. Now the news in full. The Senate has drew a firm line against the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, and other 40 ministries, departments, and agencies. It warned that government institutions that refuse to honor its invitations or obstruct legislative oversight will face sanctions under the Constitution. The Legislative House's Power and Privileges Act and the Senate Standing Orders. The resolution followed the adoption of a motion sponsored by the chairman of the Senate Committee on Finance, Sani Musa, Niger East, over the persistent refusal of several revenue-generating agencies to appear before the committee or submit financial records required for oversight. Director General of Budget Office of the Federation, Taminu Yakubu, defended the agency's role in a controversial budgetary allocation to the Presidential Foreign Investment Promotion Council, insisted that despite provisions made in 2026 Appropriation Act, not a single kobo was released or spent because the statutory conditions for expenditure were never fulfilled. Appearing before the House of Representatives ad hoc committee investigating the alleged unlawful establishment and funding of the council, the DG maintained that the Budget Office neither created the council nor approved its establishment, recruitment, or salaries. He told lawmakers that the office merely carried out its constitutional responsibility of assessing the fiscal implications of approvals issued by other government institutions. A fraction of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, says it is closing ranks, rebuilding its structures, and mobilizing for a strong comeback in the 2027 general elections. The fraction national chairman of the PDP, Taminu Turaki, told party stakeholders in Abuja that the party remains united and would not be distracted by its current internal challenges. Ubong Osoro has the details.
The fractional national chairman of the PDP, Taminu Turaki, says the PDP had survived more difficult periods in its history and is confident of emerging stronger. Turaki assured members that the party will review the recent court judgment, deepen its reconciliation process, and ensure it fields candidates for every elective position in the 2027 general elections.
PDP will continue to lead. There may be challenges here and there regarding the leadership of our party. Again, for us in PDP, this is nothing new. We will overcome, we shall overcome, we are overcoming.
The secretary of the PDP Board of Trustees, Aliyu Muazu, commended the party leadership for standing firm in defense of the party's constitution despite sustained political pressure. He urged members to remain patient and loyal, insisting that unity, discipline, and commitment would restore the party's fortune, while those who left the PDP for personal interest would eventually regret their decision.
That if I will borrow our clerics, whatever you do, if you repent, you will get it back. You will get yourself back, you will get our party back, and we will succeed in the final analysis.
Chairman of the PDP's State Chairman Forum, Tony Azewani, described the party's present challenges as temporary and surmountable. He called on members to remain focused on rebuilding the party through credible leadership, internal discipline and selfless service, expressing confidence that the PDP would emerge stronger ahead of the 2027 elections.
I think we have to be very clear. This PDP, we made serious mistakes in projecting people we ought not to have projected to attain certain positions. And I think under this leadership, once we get back up, such people will never smell those seeds that they are smelling now.
The stakeholders unanimously pledged to strengthen internal unity, conclude reconciliation process and reposition the PDP for stronger showing in the 2027 general elections. Ubong Usoro, Global TV News.
Over now to Kano State Executive Council has approved more than 50 billion naira for the execution of various development projects across the state. The projects cover key sectors including education, healthcare, roads, water resources, and physical planning. The Commissioner for Information and Internal Affairs, Abdullahi Waya, announced this while briefing journalists on the outcome of the 40th Executive Council meeting. Global TV correspondent Idris Jibrin reports.
Chaired by Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, the 40th Executive Council meeting focused on key projects aimed at improving infrastructure and public services across Kano State. After extensive deliberations, the Council approved billions of naira for the rehabilitation, construction and upgrading of public schools across the state.
Council approved a total expenditure of 55 billion 475 million 406,487 naira 82 kobo. Education remains the largest beneficiary of today's approvals. The Executive Council approved numerous projects aimed at improving infrastructure, learning facilities, student welfare, and access to quality education across Kano State.
The education sector was not the only area to receive attention. The Council also approved funds for the construction, renovation, and upgrading of healthcare facilities in a move aimed at improving access to quality healthcare services for residents.
The Executive Council approved the following project: reconstruction and upgrading of the health facility at Shekar, Maidaki, Maidili in Kumbota local government area at the cost of 201,971,185,000 naira 92 kobo. Construction of a new primary healthcare facility at Bubugaji, Kwari Gidang Jakara, Kumbota local government area at the cost of 345,457,614 naira 96 kobo.
The Ministry of Land and Fiscal Planning was also allocated more than 3 billion naira for various projects across the state. The Council further approved funds for the supply of gas oil to support the operation of the Ministry of Water Resources. In the area of road infrastructure, more than 1 billion naira was approved for the rehabilitation and construction of roads in different parts of the state.
Revised estimated total cost for the rehabilitation and asphalt overlay of Sabo by Kinzu Road, Government House roundabout to Maiduguri Road Junction at the cost of 1,070,000,000 to 929,010 naira 86 kobo.
The Commissioner said the funds would be released to the relevant ministries, departments and agencies for the immediate execution of the approved projects. The Kano State Executive Council called on residents to continue to maintain peace and support government efforts toward providing critical infrastructure and improving public services across the state. From Kano, Idris Jibrin, Global Television News.
In another development in Kano State, Governor Abba Yusuf of Kano State has announced plans by his administration to establish a state-owned commercial airline as part of effort to create employment opportunities for indigenous pilots. Now, according to a statement issued by the governor's spokesperson, Sanusi Bature, the proposed airline is expected to commence operations within the next 1 year. Now, the governor disclosed this during the 40th Kano State Executive Council meeting held at the Government House, Kano, where he received several awards, including a recognition from the Kano State Pilot Association for supporting members to complete their aviation training. Ahead of August 15th governorship election in Osun State, the Accord Party and Police Command traded accusations over the neutrality of security agencies in the state. And the chairman of the Accord Party, Pastor Victor Akonde, accused the Osun Police Command of providing cover for suspected thugs, while members of the rival groups, particularly transport union members, were subjected to harassment and selective arrest. Akonde urged the Inspector General of Police IGP Tunji Disu to order an impartial investigation into the activities of all individuals linked to the recent violence in the state and ensure that anyone found culpable was persecuted regardless of political affiliation. However, Police Public Relations Officer DSP Abiodun Ojelabi dismissed the allegations, describing them as false and misleading, maintaining that it remained committed to professionalism, impartiality, and the rule of law. You are watching the live broadcast of News Prime. News Prime continues after this weather forecast, plus business, foreign, and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is News Prime on Global Television. Thank you for staying with us. In business now, the federal government, through the Rural Electrification Agency, has unveiled plans to develop renewable energy service companies that will compete directly with electricity distribution companies over the next 10 to 15 years. In a major shift aimed at tackling persistent blackouts and expanding electricity access across the country, Managing Director of the Rural Electrification Agency, Abba Aliyu, disclosed this at the Oriental News 2026 conference held in Ikeja, Lagos. Represented by the Executive Director Corporate Services at REA, Boyega Ayoade Aliyu said the agency was moving away from encouraging single isolated mini-grid projects to supporting developers capable of building utility-scale renewable energy network that could serve entire communities independently of the national grid. The United States has slammed Nigeria and 7 other African countries with a 12.5% tariff on their exports to America over alleged failure to curb forced labor in supply chains. Now, the action taken under Section 301 of the U.S. Trade Act of 1974 by the Office of the United States Trade Representatives was part of a sweeping measure against 38 economies that the U.S. accused of failing to impose and effectively enforce a prohibition on the importation of goods produced with forced labor after launching an investigation into 60 economies. Aside from Nigeria, other African countries affected are Algeria, Angola, Egypt, Libya, Morocco, and South Africa. The United States Trade Representative said the affected nations have not put in place or enforced measures strong enough to block goods made with forced labor from entering their markets. On the foreign news now, Ukrainian drones hit a warehouse for a Russian e-commerce giant near St. Petersburg today, triggering a fire that sent smoke pouring over the heuristic city, according to local officials. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky alleged after the first attack that the facilities were used to supply sanctioned components for drone production and navigation equipment. Kyiv has targeted St. Petersburg as it stepped up large-range drone strikes on Russian energy, military and logistics sites in recent weeks. Russian President Vladimir Putin has visited the Irkutsk aviation plant as Russia steps up production of its homegrown MC-21 passenger aircraft, a renewed push to strengthen its aviation industry amid Western sanctions. President Vladimir Putin toured the Irkutsk aviation plant, one of Russia's leading aircraft manufacturing facilities, to inspect progress on the production of the country's new medium-haul passenger jet, the MC-21. Samuel Odi tells us more.
The aircraft is expected to play a central role in Russia's drive to reduce dependency on foreign-made planes and expand domestic aviation capacities. During the visit, Putin inspected production lines and received briefings from industry officials on the development of the aircraft and the plant manufacturing capacity. The Yuzhuk facility, operated by United Aircraft Corporation, is a key component of Moscow's strategy to modernize its aerospace sector and sustain aircraft production despite restrictions imposed by Western sanctions. Russia's authority says the MC-21 program is aimed at boosting self-reliance, creating jobs and strengthening the country's long-term industrial and technological capacity. The visit underscores the Kremlin's determination to accelerate domestic aircraft production as Russia seeks to reinforce its aviation sector and reduce reliance on foreign technology. Samuel Odi, Global TV News.
British Prime Minister Andy Burnham has begun work for his newly established No. 10 North office in Manchester, describing the move as a major step towards decentralizing power from London. Samuel Odi tells us more.
In a landmark shift in governance, British Prime Minister Andy Burnham has officially opened his No. 10 North office in Manchester, signaling his administration's commitment to delivering decision-making across the United Kingdom. Andy, who assumed office on Monday after succeeding Keir Starmer, described the opening of the Northern office as the best day of his life, saying it was the beginning of a new era of people-centered governance. He said the initiative is designed to place power in every postcode, enabling communities to drive development and shape policies that directly affect their lives.
Opportunity has not been evenly spread around the country, and not all places have felt that they're part of the national story. And that is what this government is going to work every single day to change. And that is what No. 10 North is all about, putting power in every postcode so that people can turn things around for themselves and make changes, just as this great city has done and the other English cities are doing through devolution.
The Prime Minister also announced plans to work from Manchester office at least one day every week, saying the arrangement will bring government closer to the people and strengthen regional development.
But this is the place where kind of Whitehall meets the rest of the country. I've called it the nerve centre for a rewired Britain. Or if you think about it in terms of the day-to-day kind of challenge around growth, it will be the situation room for growth, where we all get around the table, mayors with all of the team and the Whitehall department, so we get those decisions made more quickly, we break through the logjams, and we get things done.
The move is widely seen as a flagship policy aimed at reducing the concentration of political authorities in London while boosting local governance and economic growth across the United Kingdom. Samuel Odi, Global TV News.
Trade tensions between China and the United States are escalating once again as Beijing rejects a fresh round of U.S. tariffs and pushes back against Philippine accusations of a confrontation in the South China Sea. The Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jin made this known in a press briefing in Beijing. Samuel Odi tells us more.
Beijing says it opposed the latest tariff imposed by Washington on Chinese goods as part of broader trade measures affecting China and 59 other countries. Speaking at a regular news briefing, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian criticized U.S. move, saying China remains firmly opposed to what it views as a unilateral trade restriction. Lin said Beijing believes the new tariffs could disrupt global trade and economic stability, urging the United States to resolve differences through dialogue rather than additional trade barriers. The Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson also called on Washington to reconsider its approach and said China would take necessary measures to safeguard its economic interests. Lin also responded to allegations from the Philippines that China Coast Guard used a water canoe against a Philippine government vessel near a disrupted reef in the South China Sea. He defended Beijing's action, reiterating China's position on its maritime claims and law enforcement activities in the contest water. The incident has further heightened tension between China and the Philippines, which have been involved in a series of confrontations over dispute areas in the South China Sea. Both countries continue to assert their claim over contested maritime territories, with Philippines calling for international support and China maintaining that its actions are lawful and aimed at protecting its sovereignty. Samuel Odi, Global Television News.
In some exciting news in sports, Nigeria's Roland Ezeruike has secured Team Nigeria's first medal at the 2026 Commonwealth Games after claiming silver in the men's lightweight Group A powerlifting event. The experienced powerlifting produced a strong display throughout the competition and came close to winning the gold medal. Ezeruike successfully completed his opening lift but narrowly missed out on the top prize after failing in his final attempt to set a new Commonwealth Games record with a 190 kg lift. He finished the event with a total of 153.9 points from 2 successful lifts, earning the silver medal and giving Nigeria's first podium finish of the Games. The medal provides an early boost for Team Nigeria as the country's athletes continue their campaign for honors across multiple events at the 2026 Commonwealth Games. LeBron James has announced that he will join the Philadelphia 76ers for what he says will be the final contract of his NBA career. The 41-year-old superstar leaves the Los Angeles Lakers after 8 seasons and begins a new chapter with Philadelphia as he looks to chase another championship before retirement. James said he believes he can help turn the 76ers into a title-winning team and is excited to bring his experience and leadership to a new fan base. Now, the move ends weeks of speculations linking him with teams including the Cleveland Cavaliers, Golden State Warriors, Minnesota Timberwolves, and Miami Heat. Chairman, National Sports Commission Shehu Diko has called for a stronger private sector partnerships and sustained collaboration with the Commission to accelerate grassroots football development across Nigeria. Diko made the call at the 2026 Paris Pays Grassroots Football Tournament in Abuja, describing private investments as a vital driver for discovering and nurturing the next generation of football talents. Global TV sports correspondent Samuel Udi tells us more.
Represented by Ibrahim Babangida, ex-international and chairman local organizing committee, Diko commended Peripades for complementing government efforts to develop sport at the grassroots level. He noted that the initiatives driven by private sector are crucial to expanding opportunities for young footballers and strengthening Nigeria's football ecosystem. The commission also highlighted the importance of structured scouting programs, explaining that the tournament provides a platform for professional scouts to identify exceptional talent with potential to progress into professional clubs and national teams.
The brain behind the competition, we started all the way from tournament, winning prize, but at the end of the day, in terms of football, people grow every day. When we grow, we discover more things to do concerning the grassroots football. in Nigeria.
The chief executive officer of Peripace said the tournament was born out of his personal desire to create opportunities he never had while growing up. He explained that although he did not have the privilege of playing football professionally, he is committed to ensuring that talented young Nigerians are given the exposure and support needed to pursue successful football careers.
Taking our youth off the streets, and the motive is this is our way of protesting for good governance. Yes, so we can decide to hit the streets, or we can decide to do it this way to empower our people. This also spread the same message as to say we want development in our country. So this is also our own medium of development from Peripace Services.
The 2026 Peripace Grassroots Football Tournament attracted young football talent from across the country, with scouts, coaches, and football stakeholders in attendance to identify promising players and promote grassroots football development in Nigeria. Samuel Odi, Global TV News.
As Global TV News Prime comes to an end, let's take a quick look at our top stories again. Brought to you that the Nigerian Governors Forum has endorsed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's approval of 4 new Nigerian Army divisions, describing the move as a major boost to the country's security architecture. And Business United States has slammed Nigeria and 7 other African countries with a 12.5% tariff on their exports to America of alleged failure to curb forced labor in supply chains. Another foreign scene, Russian President Vladimir Putin has visited the Irk aviation plant as Russia steps up production of its homegrown MC-21 passengers push to straighten its aviation industry in Western sanctions. And finally, in sports, LeBron James has announced that he will join the Philadelphia 76ers for what he says will be the final contract of his NBA career. And that's it on News Prime. Here's a quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365, Star Times channel 276, and Free TV. Now kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen by using @Global TV NG. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you for watching.